What's the most peeped up thing you did in a sleepover? I was in the bathroom. I could overhear whispers. So I knew they were going to play a prank on me. I thought that the prank would be that they would unexpectedly break the door open while I was in there. So, to counter-surprise them, I decided to only pretend I was on the toilet, and to instead hold the door shut by pushing against it with both palms, adding my weight to the door and preventing it from being pushed open. However, that was not their intended prank. They thought I was on the toilet, far from the door. So their idea was to have a sword thrust unexpectedly through the door. The sword went through the door and then straight through the palm of my right hand as well. Blood went everywhere. The sword went in and out quickly. I have vague memories of turning the sink on and wrapping my hand with hand towels even while blood spurted throughout the room. I don't remember getting in the car, but apparently I was driven to the emergency room. It's now 20 years later. The rest of my hand is fine, but I have a small scar of light-colored flesh on my palm where I no longer have any feeling. Usually when I mention the story, I just say that I was stabbed through by a sword when I was a teenager, without going into detail on the how and why, which is significantly more stupid. The same person who did this prank on me decided to prank someone else by holding a knife right above a sleeping person's eye so that when they woke up the first thing they'd see is a knife blade close up. Thankfully, that particular incident resulted in only a scream, with no physical injuries. Looking back, I suspect he may have been an unhealthy friend to hang out with. I was away with a friend's family and I was on the phone pretending to the other guys I met this hot babe at the pool and we were gonna sneak out and meet up that night. I also went on to complain about the family who paid for my trip. They heard everything. I cringe to this day when I think about it. Like third hand embarrassed of myself. To be fair, they turned out not to be very nice people, but they were obviously nice to me. Watched hardcore porn with her probably stoned older brother. We were all like 12 and I think her younger brother was also there. He should not have been left in charge. In the mid-late 90s, my brother got really into the anarchist cookbook and learned how to tap into neighbors' landlines from a box on the pole using a touch-tone phone and some connectors from Radio Shack. We'd have friends sleep over, we are close in age, and we'd sneak out and he'd hook a phone up so we could call phone sex lines from outside a neighbor's house in the bushes. I still wonder if they disputed the charges or if the wife just thought the husband was calling 1-900-BIG-TITS at 2 a.m. Visiting a friend's house for the first time and I couldn't find the bathroom. I was about 10 during a sleepover. In the middle of the night. Dark. Confused. I pissed in the closet. Got a bloody nose. It was dark and I didn't know the house. So I stuck near the walls and went down the hallway and found the bathroom. Got the bleeding to stop. Cleaned up. Went back to sleep. In the morning, the mom came in frantic making sure everyone was alive after she saw smeared bloody handprints all the way down the hallway. My friend and I were 11 or 12. His sister was about 14. She announced that she'd never seen a dick in person before and wanted to. Basically, it was a show me yours and I'll show you mine thing. Except it was directed at me and my friend. Which makes sense, I guess. If she'd never seen one before, why not try to look at two at once? Ground rules were set. You can look for as long as you want or as close as you want, but no touching. I'd never seen a vag in person before, so I was up for it. My friend was apparently curious enough to scope out his own GD sister. So, we all showed each other our junk. After it was over, we never did that again. Never spoke of it again or anything else. Rated my friend's dad's Playboy mags. Then my friend showed me a porn video and I couldn't figure out why the girl was drinking the guy's pee. Full disclosure, I was like 9 or 10 and this was early 80s. More embarrassing than peeped up. Accidentally clogged the toilet at friend X's house. There was no plunger and the toilet was filling rapidly. I panicked and ran to my friend who promptly called for his dad. His dad takes one look and yells from the bathroom. Jesus. X. How big of a speep did you take? It took years before I went back to his house. In Boy Scouts, I was the morning cook. Meaning I woke up before anyone else to chop wood, make fire, and get water boiling. I grab the hatchet and start splitting a log into little splinters for kindling. It was cold and dewy. The hatchet slipped from my hand mid-upward swing and went flying to the tent circle. It seriously flew 10 to 15 yards and fell straight down the roof of a tent, where 4 scouts were sound asleep. I'm not sure how long I waited to hear someone start screaming. I probably sat there in terrified anticipation for over a minute. Then I was worried someone might be hurt, so I crawled over to that tent where the hatchet landed. I super quietly unzipped the flap, and saw it landed in a bag of clothes very close to some kid's head. I snuck in, grabbed the hatchet, Left the tent. Zipped it back up. And finished breakfast. I heard them at breakfast complaining that the raccoons has ruined their perfectly nice tent by clawing a hole in it. We had a co-ed church group sleepover at a Vermont farm. I was 13 and recently got a fake testicle. I had my other testicle removed due to an accident. I was getting people to feel my balls and take bets on which one was the real one. Threw up on my cousin's Christmas tree in the middle of the night at her house. I still get speep for that edit because of typo. One of my buddies in high school would bully me all the time, and he treated me like speep when I was staying over his house with other friends. One time he told me to go get him a glass of water, so I went upstairs. Poured him a glass of water. Dipped my nuts in it for a few seconds, then gave it to him. Why is this water kinda salty? I pissed on the air mattress and my friend's mom asked if a raccoon broke in. Walked home while everyone was asleep. Didn't tell my friend. Didn't tell their parents. Didn't tell my parents. Just crawled out a window at my friend's house and crawled in a window at my own. Went to bed. Not a single person looked for me in the morning. I don't remember what we were looking for. But me and another friend went through our buddy's parents' bedroom drawers and found a VHS tape. We were curious and idiotic, so we popped the tape in to see what was on it. Our buddy walked in while we were watching his parents have sex. His scream was the most shocking/horrifying thing I have heard to this day. I found a set of photos of my parents doing the deed. My real question was, who took the photos? I peed on my friend's couch during a sleepover. I was 10, kinda old to pee the bed. I know. I woke up in a panic, of course. But discovered the couch cushions weren't sewed to the couch and they were identical on both sides. So I flipped that speep. Changed into a spare pair of shorts. And went to sleep. A year later, while I was at that friend's house, his mom discovered my huge yellow piss stain on the bottom of a couch cushion. Of course she didn't suspect me. My friend's little sister took the heat. It was me. Mrs. Schofield. I pissed on your couch and let it soak for a year. Undefined. Edit 2. Some have suggested that maybe she discovered the stain intentionally while I was there as a way to either call me out or give me a chance to admit it. Doubtful. I was over at this friend's house a lot. Like at least 3 dozen times in between the day I peed on his couch and the day his mom discovered it. The only reason they found it was because they were rearranging living room furniture and were considering trashing the couch. And I happened to be visiting the same day. I had a sleepover at a friend's house. Pre-teen boys. So we were stuffed in one little bed. I got a nosebleed. But slept through it for about an hour. I noticed eventually and got up to tend to it. My friend woke up while I was in the bathroom to what looked like a scene from a horror movie. I did not get a second sleepover. Played with matches. For years afterward, thought I'd burned my aunt and uncle's house down. I was staying with them. My cousin and I were lighting matches in the kitchen and throwing them in the sink to put them out. The head of one flew off and landed in the shelving unit by the sink. Still smoking, but when we looked for it, we couldn't find it. It was the 80s, so all those kids don't play with matches ads were everywhere. Hours later we were awakened by my aunt telling us to get out of the house because it was on fire. Watched their house burn to the ground and was terrified to tell them what we'd been doing earlier. I just knew we'd done it. Carried that guilt for years. When I was around 15-ish, which was many years later, I finally told my aunt. She started laughing, and after realizing I'd been thinking this the whole time, hugged me and explained it had been wiring in the back bedroom. I was an adult before I finally understood. After learning about how fire marshals investigate fires, that it wasn't just an assumption they'd made and could let go of that guilt. So I guess, technically, the most screwed up thing I did on a sleepover was traumatize myself for years. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit like. If you would like to see more, feel free to subscribe.